Hello and welcome to a game of Dota 2. You are watching the Rapture Gaming League and we are still on the group stages. We're gonna see Mineski take on Awake, and both of these teams are sitting at a 3-win, 6-loss score. Now one of these two teams will of course move one spot upward and the other one will be at the second last place in the standings. There are 7 teams in total. These two teams are sitting at a shared 5th and 6th position. So one of these two will just jump a bit ahead of the other team. Now both of these teams already have a spot secured. I mean, in the top 6 in theory has a spot secured in the playoffs, so only one team gets dropped out. But still, you want to have a bit of a head start compared to your competitor. We're gonna see Mineski on the dire side for this game. They've banned out the Razor as well as a Lifestealer. Now Razor is a hero that we see banned out more often, but normally only when there is actually an OD in the pool. But the OD was actually the ban out from Awake after the Razor ban, so that was you know, quite obvious that Mineski was gonna try to go for that one. We have an Elder Titan banned out by Awake as well as the Lifestealer banned out by Mineski, so 2 strong heroes. Couple heroes left in the pool, of course, that we often see now, more in the western scene than in the eastern scene. Of course, is the IO still in the pool. We have seen it before in the eastern scene, and I'm actually still kind of expecting it perhaps to see the light of day, maybe even only in the ban phase, but nonetheless, probably gonna see it pop up. And of course, Batrider is gonna be picked up here by Awake, and the Naga Siren as well, picked up by Mineski together with the Crystal Maiden. Now these two, assuming that these two are both supports, that's a very strong support combination, and you can go anywhere with this lineup. You can go on the suicide lane or on the safe lane, both will be fine. Crystal Maiden in theory can get some extra farm in the jungle, while Naga Siren keeps the carry safe. And of course, with that Naga Siren, you normally want to have a carry that kind of combines up with what she does, so the Song of the Siren. And often we see the Gyrocopter picked up together with the Naga Siren. I would really pretty much like that on Mineski, but we'll find out. We've got a Visage picked up by Awake together with a Batrider. Now, of course, Batrider is not going to be a support here, but still a lot of options for him. We can see him in the mid, in the offlane, or in the jungle, or both offlane jungle. So a lot of options still open for Awake, and they select the Visage as well, making sure that they have got a very strong support. So if they are going to get aggressive tri-laned against, having a Visage on the lane, make sure that you are going to be having a decent time to make a comeback and to get a kill of your own as well. We've got Mineski bending out some extra supports that work out okay together with the Visage. Well, at least Nyx Assassin works well together with the Visage. IO Visage combination, not too interesting, but of course the IO, you just don't want to face him. It's just, it forces you into a playstyle that you maybe don't want to play. So Mineski therefore removing it from the pool, while Awake bans out the Alchemist, which we sometimes also see combine up with the Naga Siren. Of course, Acid Spray is a nice thing that you can put down on where the song is, and you can position it properly so that you can make sure that the fight is happening on that. And I mean, just an Ensnare and a Frostbite to set up for an Alchemist Sun is pretty damn good. Queen of Pain banned out by Awake as well, just removing that from the pool. Don't want to see Mineski play that one. And we're gonna see the pick go on to Awake, and they're actually taking into their bonus time right now, thinking about what they want to be having together with the Visage. Now, I would really much like to see the Visage combine up with the Sand King. It's a long shot. We have seen it before, for sure. It's definitely not uncommon, but lately it hasn't happened that often. But it's a really strong support combination, and it's mostly strong for trying to gank and to oh, boom! And to roam. Because these two, I mean, normally you don't really, normally Sand King is not that great of a support, because he has got this very short range burrow strike, and you know, he only starts to be able to use it a bit more properly once he is level 3. And now the thing about a support is that you want to be able to use everything at level 1, or at least you want to have everything very strong at level 1. Well, burrow strike is not the case. You need to have level 3, unless you've got your Grave Shield from the Visage slowing people down, so Sand King can get in range and he can get a burrow strike off. Now Timbersaw picked up by Mineski, very strong hero. We've seen him in the offlane, we've seen him in the mid lane. And I think, I mean, they're gonna keep their options open depending on what Awake still wants to pick up. Because of course Batrider is also one of those heroes that can fulfill multiple roles. Now that the Sand King is picked up, by the way, he is definitely not gonna be just jungling by himself, as in he is going to be, if he's going to be jungling, he's going to be having the offlane / jungle or mid, but Timbersaw is kind of the same kind of role hero, so right now we're looking at a lineup for both teams with the first 3 heroes selecting the same 3 roles. And it's pretty interesting in terms of what they're going to pick up next, and of course what they're going to ban out next, because that's the most important one. And which hero they're saving for last. If they're going to save the mid lane for last or the carry. And in terms of Awake, I mean, they pick up a Shadow Fiend. Now we've seen Shadow Fiend mid, we've also seen him on the safe lane, so Awake still playing it cool, playing it safe. They are not giving anything away at this moment. They are making sure that they are the one to call the shots, and they are the one to decide, like they are the one to get to do the reactive picking, leaving Mineski out to dry so that Mineski has to actually think for themselves and can't really rely on countering what Awake is going to do, because they have a lot of options at the moment. They can even go for an aggressive tri lane and leave Shadow Fiend in the solo safe lane, and oh my god, Mineski does the same thing. They pick up a hero that we've seen in the off lane, we've seen in the safe lane, and we've even seen him mid a couple of times. So again, a hero with a lot of options. Now, the most logical thing here for Mineski is to, I think, get the Weaver on the safe lane, Timbersaw on the off lane, and still select the mid. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them try out the Weaver in the safe lane or in the off lane and Timbersaw mid and still pick up a different carry, because of course Gyrocopter is still in the pool, and I personally like Weaver most when he is combined up with another carry, when there is a semi-carry there as well. Looks like Awake is expecting Weaver to be on the safe lane and Timbersaw off lane, because they ban out the Storm, which is a bit of a mid hero. So they are expecting Mineski to still pick up one of those. We've got an anti-mage ban out for Mineski, because they are expecting Shadow Fiend in the mid and still expecting a carry for Awake, which could very much be possible. Of course, just put the Batrider in the off lane and Shadow Fiend mid and still pick up a carry. And that's exactly what they do. They pick up the Dragonite. A secure solo mid can basically face anything. The thing about a solo, or the thing about a Dragonite solo mid, is that he, in theory, can, you know, he can face any kind of lane, because he apart from maybe OD actually, because he relies on his bottle charges to get the last hit, so that he can get the last hit with his breathe fire and get some last hits by himself as well later on, of course. And he's just a very sturdy hero. Now, Dragonite doesn't normally win mid. And we know that. That is fine. You pick him up because it's a safe mid. And he doesn't really win mids. But if there's a Visage and a Sand King coming out to help and gank, now you've got yourself a slow, setting up for a Burrow Strike. Dragonite gets time to come in range and has got himself a stun as well. And better yet, if Sand King and Visage only gank once Dragonite is level 6, he can actually initiate himself with the Dragon Tail and the Dragon form, and Sand King can just Burrow Strike off on that one. And that's going to be a very dangerous mid lane for whoever is going to be going mid for Mineski. And they're still thinking about their last pickup. Timbersaw and Weaver, again, both so versatile. Can't lock anything down just yet. Nothing set in stone. And for Awake, I want to say nothing set in stone, but there's of course still the option that they're going to run an aggressive tri lane. But I'm kind of expecting Batrider just off lane, Shadow Fiend safe lane with a Visage, and then Sand King just getting some experience on the side and seeing what they can do in that lane. If there is actually an aggressive tri lane coming from Mineski. Oh, I was not expecting that hero. Now I just said that that Dragonite is a very safe mid. He can basically lane against anybody apart from the OD. Tiny is a hero that doesn't really lane well against a lot of mid heroes, but if he's laning against the Dragonite, he is actually going to be just fine. So this is a very interesting lineup for Mineski. I really like the Tiny. In terms of combining up with the Naga, like after the song, not that much happening, but you know what we normally, or what we not normally see, but what we often see when there's a very farmed Naga Siren on the map, right? He has a blink dagger, because blinking in with, of course, the song is a very good initiation. You don't give the opponents a chance to actually run away from the song, and that's something that you can just do with a Tiny. Free blink dagger right there, can toss anybody in. Crystal Maiden, her Frostbite, one of the more instant cast spells that you can think of. The only thing she has to do is raise her hand just a little bit, and that's it. Again, if Tiny tosses her in, he can stop anything in its tracks, including, for example, an epicenter that's being cast. That's why we often see Crystal Maidens, or not often, I guess. We don't really see Sand Kings that often, but we used to see Crystal Mains up against Sand Kings and just trying to save that Frostbite until the epicenter came in, and then just, you know, make sure that that's not going to happen. Make sure that you cancel that one. And it looks like we do have an aggressive Trilon on our hands. Or at least for now it looks like that. Let's take a look at who is playing what. Of course, once again, you're watching the Rapture Gaming League. This is Awake versus Mineski. It's one game, it's best out of one. We're in the group stages. And one of these two teams is going to be a solid 5th place and the other one is going to be on 6th place. Of course, right now, they're sharing a place with both having 3 games won and 6 games lost. Now Awake will be on the Radiant side, but first Mineski on the Dire side. We have got Jay playing the Tiny. He is calling himself standing right now. Apparently he's not sitting, but he's standing. And he is he's playing a Tiny. Playing in the mid lane, we've got ourselves Josh playing the Naga Siren. We'll be playing as support. We'll still see where they're going to go, if they're going to run for that aggressive Trilon or not. And if they're going to just put also the Naga or the Crystal Maiden top. We have Jules playing the Weaver. On the Crystal Maiden, we've got Batusai playing the Crystal Maiden. I already said that. And it looks like we are just going to have a safe Trilon. Well, that's actually slightly disappointing for me, because I was really looking forward to an aggressive Trilon. But they make the right choice here, because it's a very scary lane to be up against with Sand King and the Visage. I already mentioned that combination. Jesse Vash will be playing the Timbersaw, and he's already got a nice cozy spot for himself, eating a tree, doing what many are calling the Demon Dota thing, where you can just leech experience while not putting yourself at risk and just stand there in the jungle and be safe. So that's everybody of Mineski there, of course, again on the Dire side. Now on the Radiant side is Awake. They will have DVA playing the Shadow Fiend here on this bottom lane as the carry role. We've got a stand-in by, we're gonna call him by, B5Y, playing the Visage. Dumsy will play the Sand King, is already stacking the camp right here. Then in the mid lane we've got ourselves Boombell, will be playing the Dragonite, and is indeed up against a Tiny. Now, this is actually a very good lane for the Dragonite. This is the best he could hope for, and he's actually able to compete with this Tiny and have actually a chance of killing people. If he had a Breathe Fire right now, he almost would have gotten a kill. It's only level 1 Breathe Fire, obviously, but it's still, it's pretty risky here for Jay on this Tiny. You have to keep an eye out on these two, and especially, of course, keep an eye out on the supports that rotate, because in a game like this, where there are 2 safe lanes, safe tri lanes, and the offlaners don't really do that much with the enemy team, apart from Jesse Vash, who's maybe in a bit trouble. By the way, last one, of course, who I did not introduce just yet. It's the one that chosen a Dutch football player to represent his tag. It is Bergkamp, whoever you want to call him, but he'll be playing the Batrider. But yeah, on a game like this, support duos, they can make or break this game. They can really make or break this game. One of the things that's like the roaming supports will make the difference in the lane, will make the difference in the mid lane. Avalanche comes in, just harassment though. There's a bottle up on Tiny, so he can just empty that one, but also bottle up on the Dragonite. Already Crystal Main standing by, but she's standing right next to a Radiant Ward, so this is something that Dragonite is not going to be surprised by. As Timbersaw also seems to be doing okay. He managed to get himself to level 3 before he showed himself, before he realized that, hey, they're pulling, I can't let this happen, I have to get to the creep spawn to get myself some experience. And one of the things that's of course interesting is that in the next patch, this Timbersaw is going to have a way better time, or would have had a way better time, because he could just sit around here and gain all the experience of the neutral camps, creeps that are dying around there, because of course it's shared in the area rather than just shared for the team that's getting the last hit. But yeah, I'm expecting supports to rotate at any point soon. We've got 14 last hits so far for the Tiny, who is tossing around the Dragonite. 13 last hits for the Dragonite, and I mean, very even still. Still no team getting an advantage, but it looks like Mineski wants to try and make a difference in that. They are pushing on the top lane. They don't have mirror images, but they do have the Geminite attack, and of course the AoE harass from all 3 heroes to get this creep wave down fast and actually maybe take down a tower very fast and secure themselves some extra gold. And even though that's not a first blood or anything like that, and it's still gold that Awake at some point should be able to pick up as well, it does give a bit of an edge to Mineski in the laning stage, and that's of course what they're after. Want to make a difference there in that mid lane, take down a tower. As long as they instantly pull the lane back again, making sure that the lane doesn't get pushed out too much, because if it does, then Awake will be able to just put the Bat Rider there and get some free experience and actually maybe get a gank in as well, because it's a very easy position to otherwise be in. Tower goes down on top lane, no surprise there. Dragonite getting himself a new full bottle. Looks like he wants to just save it and send it back straight away. Because runes are picked up by Tiny right now. He's got himself a double damage rune right now with a 4-minute rune. So looking very good. With the tower down on the top lane, looks like also Awake wants to try and make something happen here on the bottom lane. Making sure that they are laying down some pressure up on the Timber Saw. Of course, there is a Timber Saw in this lane. Meaning that there is actually someone defending the tower, while Awake did not have someone defending the tower. So even if Awake get this tower, it is not going to be as successful as Mineski taking their tower on the top lane. As we now do have Bat Rider rotating top, and the pull is happening though, making sure that the lane will be pushed back again, but in the meantime Bat Rider is having a bit of a better time here. As Weaver makes himself to level 5. I mean, Weaver and Shadow Fiend are kind of fighting each other right now. There's only a 2 last hit difference. And both of the 2 carries also were able to take the tower. Take the tower gold, that is. So looking pretty good for both of these heroes, as we have got an instant smoke off after the tower went down, and looks like this Sand King is meaning business. He wants to go mid. There is a Naga Siren quite close by, but I don't think they mind. They want to just take down the Tiny. They want to make sure that happens, and I think they can. In comes an Avalanche still. In comes a Naga Siren as well. More teleports coming in as well. Crystal Maiden coming in. 2-bound Burrow Strike. That's your first blood right there. Tiny goes down. Down goes Joss as well with one more hit coming out from the Shadow Fiend. That's a double kill for DVA, and Crystal Maiden not able to make a difference here in this middle lane. 2 kills going the way of Awake. Their rotation was the first, and theirs was successful, as the rotation of Mineski came slightly too late, as in Crystal Maiden came in a bit too late, and there was only a level 3 Naga Siren to help out the Tiny.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And that is not going to be something that Mineski is going to be happy about. And of course they've got some pretty support heavy or level heavy supports, with the Naga Siren needing to be level 6 before he can actually mean a lot more to his team, with of course Song of the Siren stopping initiation from happening. He is very far away from that. Crystal Maiden sitting at level 3 as well. We take a look at the Sand King, level 3. Everybody is level 3. All the supports are level 3. Also Visage, of course, a support that is very level dependent with those familiar. Sand King, Epicenter. Crystal Maiden might be the least one that is dependent here, but of course, I mean, we've seen plenty of time that Freezing Field doing tons of damage, so well, she is still the least level dependent support on this game, and that's actually a good sign for Mineski, because it means that they can just prioritize giving farm to the Naga Siren over giving farm to the Crystal Maiden, while Awake wants to of course get farm on both of those supports, or levels I should say, rather than farm. Dragonite having treads complete, sitting on 33 last hits. A bit less than a Tiny though, sitting on 41. Dragon still comes out again. In comes maybe a Burrow Strike. No, TP's coming in, and then Nova coming out from the Maiden, making sure that nobody comes in again. And they actually take quite some experience here from the Dragonite, meaning that Tiny right now, apart from him dying, he's not doing that bad. And actually, I mean, I was gonna say that Dragonite perhaps was a bit behind in experience, but because Tiny died, of course, Dragonite does have that extra level, extra half a level, I should say, or even less than half. It's a very minor difference. It's not as much as you would expect from a Dragonite that actually managed to get himself 2 kills here in the mid lane, assists on 2 kills. But the rotation from Mineski continues. They actually take the Jesse Vash with them right now. There's no wards up for Awake, so they don't really see this coming. Jesse Vash, level 6. The Timber Saw has got a Chakram. Rotation continues. Want to maybe try and take down a support here. Sand King, level 4. He has got an escape mechanism. Oh, no, they go for the Visage instead. And that's going to be one dead bird. That ward doing its work. And maybe now take down mid, take down a tower perhaps as well if they're lucky. In the meantime, of course, Weaver is still farming. In comes an ensnare. Avalanche and toss already happened. Dragonite tries to TP himself out. Won't be lucky. We'll go down. Jesse with a kill. Double kill for him right now. So it's 2-on-2 with the kill score. And of course the difference is right now that well, the difference, not really a difference, both teams having the same issue, but they got kills. They got 2 kills, same thing as Awake earlier. They don't get anything in return for it though, as Weaver looks to be getting some company here. There is a lasso up on the Batrider, and he is only 10 gold, was 10 gold when I started talking, but he has got enough gold for his Blink Dagger, and that might mean a change of pace in this game. And Mineski, they don't have a hero like that. They don't have a hero that says, you know what, I'm level 6, I've got myself this and this item. I can get kills right now. I can make a big difference. I can be a menace on the map. Mineski, they've got a couple of heroes that, I mean, Tiny, for example, once he's level 8, which he is right now, you can have the combination and he is fairly effective, but he doesn't really have that kind of impact as a Batrider can have. He needs a Blink Dagger for that, and that's still very far away. So in terms of mid-game aggression, it is going to be up to Mineski to try and teamwork, while Awake they can just profit from their Batrider. But it looks like Mineski is indeed teamworking, and they have smoked up. Shadow Fiend out in time as they look for, no, they can't find a career, they look for the Shadow Fiend. They probably should be able to take him down. There's 4 heroes here. We have Jashi Vash here as well. They really want to take him down. And perhaps if they're good enough, they can also take down a tower with it. In comes the Sand King. Hello, welcome to the bottom lane. Down you go. Now Shadow Fiend, next target. They're just diving the tier 1 tower for that. In comes the ensnare inside the chakram. Goes for a couple of races, but it doesn't matter. He goes down. Double kill. Standing, Jay taking it home. And of course, all 6 kills that have happened in this game so far have all been double kills. So 3 heroes got a double kill. It's quite funny actually. Maybe I have an odd sense of humor. But if they can get a tower off of this these 2 kills, that's actually going to be a big difference, because that's going to be something that... Wait a second, Weaver in some trouble, gets Burrow Strike as well. Can he time-lapse in time? Yes, he can! And he Shukushis, he runs, still dusted up, but he runs and he is fast enough. He goes down. Not enough shutdown to take him down within the duration of the lasso and the Burrow Strike. Not enough nuke to deal with that, and that is going to be a Weaver just... using one of his built-in tools to escape. In comes the Dragon Tail, hits upon Jay. Haste Rune upon Dragonite will allow him to escape, unless an Avalanche actually comes out and hits him. Is there another toss as well? Does he have the mana for that? Yes, he does. Tosses him into the ensnare. Hello, team. Welcome to the party. In comes a 3-man Burrow Strike. Down go 2 already. Down goes the Crystal Maiden. Naga Siren, the only one to escape, uses her song to teleport herself out. Brilliant response coming off from Awake. 3 heroes just melting. And they didn't they did take down a Dragonite actually. He bought back and he teleported back towards the middle lane. And of course with previous gank from Mineski, they weren't able to take the tower bottom. And now, successful fight, Mineski, or Awake rather, making a difference. They get the tier 1 tower mid, so hereby, Awake are ahead. Shadowblade now up on DVA, so looking for a pickup somewhere, as they're also going to get an Invis rune using the bottle, just cleaning that one out before picking up the Invis rune. There we go. Can you get the bottle back? Shadowfiend now has it. Giving the bottle to the wrong target. Let's take a look at what items these people have. Never mind. Let's first take a look at how this fight's gonna go. Naga Siren, no more song for her. Gets slowed. In comes the Avalanche and the toss and the ensnare. That's 2 dead already. Looking for more. Shadowfiend still here. Looks for the Crystal Maiden, but I don't think he's gonna get lucky. Or maybe he has. Crystal Maiden still using a self and will be living. And that's gonna be 3 extra dead in favor of Mineski. Dragonite still here. Goes down, or takes down the Crystal Maiden, but might go down himself. In comes Bergkamp. Nice flame break. Dragonite still sitting strong. In comes Jassy. Whirling Death. Can they take him down? Another Dragon Tail comes out, making sure Timbersaw cannot change. There's gonna be a toss here still though. Tossing in the Weaver. Looking for the Avalanche. Has it again in 3 seconds, but in comes the Sand King. Burrow Strike and Epicenter being casted right now. And Tiny, he goes down. That's Jay dead. Still was able to kill off the Dragonite, but it doesn't matter for him anymore. Buyback for the Tiny. Timbersaw in some trouble. Timber chains himself away. Lands another chakram. Visage goes down in the meantime. That's a double kill for Jules. Jules just standing there and hitting things, and that's another double kill for someone on Mineski. In comes the Shadow Fiend. He's able to take down the Naga Siren, but will he pay for that with his life? That would not be worth it. Not worth it at all. Another toss comes out. Doesn't kill him off though. He's the only one that lives through this in the end. And of course he did not buy back, which is something that Tiny did do. And again, one of the differences is that Mineski seemed to not get anything in return for that fight they won. No tower, no extra map control. And it's 8 to 12. The gold graph jumping up and down, both teams getting their hands on these kills, as we have got the experience graph in favor of Mineski. They've got most kills and they've been able to get the experience of the bigger kills. As in, taking down the more high prio targets, for example. They've been able to take down the Shadow Fiend twice, while for his counterpart, Jules's Weaver, hasn't died yet a single time and is almost completed, or almost done with his Lincoln Sphere, so doing really well for himself. As we take a look at the net worth, and that Weaver is definitely undisputedly on top. Only Shadow Fiend is able to maybe keep a bit tabs on him. He is 1k gold behind though, and I mean in the top 4 there's 3 people of Mineski there. So Shadow Fiend is the only one that can keep up with their might. As on the bottom lane, we might have a fight going on here soon. 3 people of both teams coming in. Looks like Mineski is the one to back off though, already placing a sentry because they know that that Shadow Blade is on there, on the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend going for BKB next, no surprise there. It's a pretty standard item, and especially if you're up against something like a Crystal Main, I mean the Frostbites, the Novas, Tiny with his Avalanche. And of course I want to be able to hit through the Song, even though that's of course also a bit risky, because you do make yourself vulnerable against everybody else and you're the only target that they can attack. But it's still something that you want to be able to have. He has to be careful though, I mean he can still get tossed, he can still get ensnared. And that's still going to be annoying, as this Timber Saw is maybe bait. Indeed it is. In comes the Song. Hello, team. And then comes the Avalanche Toss. We already see Jay standing by, getting on 2. Avalanche Toss, that's 2 dead already. Maybe the Visage will be next. He tries to take down the Crystal Main. Will be successful by the looks of it. His Familiar's chasing that down. Tries to run out by himself and, you know, gets killed off. No surprise there. Crystal Maiden indeed getting killed off by the Familiars. Josh in some trouble. Picked off. Dragon Knight making sure that happened. 2 for 3, and of course the main difference is 2 supports for 2 supports and a main carry. It is once again the Mineski comes out ahead. In the meantime, Jules, he wasn't even there. He's like, what are you doing? I'm just farming top. Can you guys please be quiet? I'm farming. But yeah, he takes down a tier 2, so Mineski actually gets something in return for the fights, as it looks like Jules just wants to take down his tier 1 mid as well, and that's going to be giving Mineski a big edge on the map control, because we're reaching that stage where both teams will be looking towards getting the Roshan done, and even though both tier 1s of Mineski are down in the mid and bottom lane, Mineski still has a dire advantage, and their tier 2s are very close by the Roshan, a lot closer to the Roshan pit than the tier 2s of Awake, and that's definitely making a difference. That tier 1 tower on the Radiant side, if that's dead, that's a big advantage for Mineski, as they are now also getting ahead in terms of gold graph. We have 5k in favor of them. They are looking solid. We already saw that the Weaver has about got his Lincolns ready. We've got the Tiny who's got a Blink Dagger, looking solid as well. Phase Drums. The typical early farming build, early aggression build, early fighting build. Bloodstone ready up on the Timber Saw now as well, so he is also doing well. When we take a look at the carry, of course, from the opponent team after last Ogre Club, wasn't able to pick up anything else just yet. Bad Rider, he's almost got his 4 staff complete. Jules has to be careful here. Nice, okay, Sentry Ward goes down, but the burst strike was just used on creep, so Jules is gonna be just fine. He still has Lincolns. In comes the Requiem of Souls. Lincoln's already popped, and time lapse back to full health. Sentry Ward placed, and Sentry Ward killed. Well, Naga, that was very useful of you. Awake. They have to be careful though. They are sitting here with 2 heroes, while there's actually 3 here for Mineski, and even though 2 of them are supports, it's scary. They've got no Song, but they've got an Ensnare, they've got a Frostbite, and actually they've got the Cavalry quite close by. With the Timber Saw, of course, being able to be there in no time, as well as the Tiny actually with his Blink Dagger, very mobile. But it looks like the standoff has stopped and Awake just rotates back. Need to make something else happen. Dragonite in the meantime, sitting on 2700 gold, hasn't picked up a big item just yet. I was expecting him to go for BKB after, of course, seeing the Shadow Blade already up on the Shadow Fiend, and you can't really have two Shadow Blades. I mean, it's if one gets countered, two get countered, so it's kind of, yeah, it's not useless entirely, but I'm kind of expecting a BKB. Also, of course, because if that BKB and Shadow Fiend is done, and he uses it to, wait a second, Tiny has to be careful now, realizes he's not alone. Realizes Shadow Fiend is chasing him down, but from the side, in comes the rest. Dragonite going for them, Chakram cleaning out the trees. Does Awake want to fight this? Weaver is on his way as well, making his way over. We still have the Tiny on the same place as well. And it looks like they're backing off. Awake already has our Dragonite backing off. So this is a time where Mineski will look to try and find some strays, try and find some people that haven't gotten the memo that they were indeed backing off. Like, for example, the Shadow Fiend. Goes Invis. There's gonna be the song. Center ward goes down, and hello! 3 enemy heroes, 2 supports, 1 Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend the most important one, of course. In comes an Avalanche. They want to go for the Shadow Fiend. Already got him. Sand King down as well. In comes the Visage, and down goes the Visage. Soul Assumption still hits upon Jay, who's taking quite a bit of a beating from this Bed Rider, but Bed Rider is the one to go down himself. Time lapse used by Jules, making sure he doesn't go down. Familiars once again chasing down the Crystal Maiden, though this time they're not going to be as lucky. And this time only one Familiar makes it out alive. And of course a Dragonite, the one that teleported towards the top lane, pays for leaving his team and letting his team hang out to dry. And that's going to be resulting into a tier 2 tower by the looks of it. Mineski, they're not backing off. They're going to continue going for this. Looks like a Desolator being built up by Jules. Strong item, of course. And of course, it's also one of those items that allows you just to go high ground easier. I mean, it's one thing to be ahead in the game. Wait a second, we might have some trouble here. In comes an Avalanche, already hits up on the Sand King. Can they take him down? Soul Assumption doesn't really do that much. Ooh, Crystal Maiden got thrown in. Get himself a Frostbite up on the Shadow Fiend, who goes invisible. Are there more Sentry Wards is the question. I don't think so. Nope, no more sentries. Tier 2 tower still goes down though. Dragonite still around there, but yeah, if he tries something, that's gonna be him dying, and he should farm a bit more. He has picked up a Shadow Blade, by the way. That's why we see him invisible. So no BKB for him. Quite surprised. But as long as Mineski is not too sharp on the sentry wards, it's not that big of a deal. If you can get those initiations going, then that's fine. You can't expect it to use it as an escape, though. But Awake, they are in a tough spot right now. They're 10k gold behind. They are 10k experience behind, and they've smoked up because they know that something needs to be done. Like, they don't necessarily have late game. So they're like, you can try and turtle, but what are you turtling for? It's you know, they have a good lineup, don't get me wrong. But so does Mineski. And Mineski is actually a bit bigger on the team fight potential here compared to Awake. And well, it's troublesome for them to see what they are gonna try and make do. I mean, how are they gonna try to come back from this? They don't have any map control. They actually don't have any wards up at all. Perhaps Roshan is the one they want to have to make sure that they can make something happen here. Roshan, the one to get it done, to win the next fight with, and to get a comeback. Even though their courier just flew over that observer ward right there. Mineski pinged it, so they realized where Awake was. So they will be keeping a tabs up on that Roshan for sure. And of course, the one thing that I was saying earlier is that when you get your towers down, like when you get your enemy towers down, and you're doing well, you're in theory, you're winning the game slowly but steadily. It's always something different to try and go high ground. High ground is something that is never easy. And Desolator is definitely one of those items that can get you to the high ground, as we see the Shadow Fiend go down again. Gem of Truth out now up on Josh as well, which is of course Naga Siren is one of the better heroes to carry that gem around because he can just scout with his illusions, not having to put himself at risk when counter warding off the sword. And that's gonna be the last outer tower down. Logical proceedings would be go Roche, go high ground. But Weaver actually does what he does best, just harassing, using a Geminite attack to just do a bit of extra harassment on the tower without putting himself at risk. I mean, he has got a time lapse, he's got a Lincoln, so he's got some escape time. In the meantime, Dragonite tries to make a difference here on this bottom lane. Tries to push, gets harassed away by the Crystal Maiden. Fair and strong enough to send a dragon on its way, apparently. Dragonite finding himself some extra farm. Weaver not gonna see him though, gonna move away. Gonna perhaps still go for Roshan unless they can find someone. Unless they can find the Dragonite. They've got that gem, Avalanche and Snare, and that's one dragon down. Unstoppable Jules. Jules, the Weaver that is so far unbeaten, that hasn't died yet a single time. Picks up another Minthro Hammer. Jesse Vash has got boots of travel. He's pretty rich. Gets himself towards the bottom lane, helping pushing. BKB finally done on the Shadow Fiend. We saw him build this, or we saw him starting to build this a very long time ago. Very long time ago. And he only now has it done. Now Dragon Knight, I'm actually still thinking that he should have gone for BKB rather than going for the Shadow Blade. Because he still needs a BKB, because right now this BKB is not going to be very much of use for the Shadow Fiend. It's not when the song is up anyway. And the song, of course, I mean, this is a level 11 Naga Siren, and the cooldown of that song with the Siren is only going to get shorter, obviously.
Regeneration.
And of course I'm talking about having the song up and then of course, or just putting the song up the moment that Shadow Fiend pops his BKB, so that he is basically alone in the world and he's the only one that Mineski can take down. And they have the damage for that. I mean, BKB or not, that Weaver is gonna hurt like hell. There's the BKB for the Weaver. That's what he made with the Minthro Hammer. Now I have to say, I was kind of skeptic. That's why I didn't say anything about it. Because having a Weaver that has and a Lincolns and a BKB is not a very common sight. But he really doesn't like getting stunned, apparently. And I mean, I guess he already does the damage. It's not the damage that he lacked, so goes for BKB. Yeah, actually, it makes sense. It's just very safe, and it's not something that you often see in Pinoy Dota. Very safe builds. But yeah, it's the case here. They've got the Aegis on the Weaver as well. They've got the time lapse. They don't have a buyback, but they do have a BKB. In comes the Lincoln's already popped. Not got his BKB on just yet though. Of course, waiting for his Aegis to get burned. And actually, he's gonna get attacked right now by DPA. Time lapses himself away from the damage being done to him. Last two already up on the Naga, but it doesn't really matter. Now the BKB gets turned on, goes for the Visage, gets him as well. Now goes again for the Shadow Fiend, who takes Sanctuary in the tier 4 towers, but it doesn't look like Mineski really cares about that. They force them back in the fountain. There goes your Aegis right there, and that's going to be the Weaver probably backing himself out. Shadow Fiend already going for the ulti, but doesn't matter. Weaver is already long gone, and they continue going on the tier 3 towers. Well, Awake, I mean, their advances to try and take this just weren't successful. They had a lasso up on the Naga Siren, weren't able to do anything with that. Burrow strike out for Dumsy as he gets tossed in enemy lines. Doesn't really matter though. Weaver's still there to pick him up. Crystal Maiden actually takes credit for the kill. Shadow Fiend picks up as well, and that's going to be a toss into enemy lines again. This time for the Visage. Visage goes down. Team wipe right there, and there are no buybacks for anybody on the Radiant side. I think this might be it. I think this might be Mineski. making it happen. In comes a song, holding everybody awake in their fountain so that Mineski can just take down the buildings in peace and quiet. And they'll rotate to the next lane. Perhaps Awake is hoping that they'll just back off and let Awake try to recuperate and recover from this attack. But it doesn't look like Mineski is planning on backing off at all. In comes another avalanche toss back into the team and force staff into safety. No, doesn't work. Gets ensnared, gets attacked by Jules, who's got another BKB charged up. Now goes for the next target, finds himself the Sand King. Double kill for him, looking for another, looking for Bergkamp. Triple kill for him, looking for 4 kills. Ultra kill is right there. Now DVA, the only one left alive again. And still no buybacks for his team, so they will see their ranks fall. This is gonna be Mineski taking a victory. No GG called just yet. Awake, they have hopes, they have dreams, but I think they're gonna all be shattered right now, as Mineski has shown no sign of mercy. Oh look, buildings are even more important than just a tier 3 tower. But nah, tier 3 tower is the one they want to go for right now. An execution from Mineski, just superb here. There comes the GG. And it is gonna be Awake that has to be satisfied with the with rank 6 basically. Mineski will go on to rank 5. Of course, I'm talking about the rankings in the group standings for the Rapture Gaming League, which is of course what you're watching right now. There's gonna be more games tomorrow, so make sure you check that out as well. As we're gonna see Titan, we're gonna see Myth. What else are we gonna see? We're gonna see a lot of games actually, quite a few anyways. 4 teams, 2 games. Make sure you tune back in same time as today. And yeah, Weaver in this entire time hadn't died a single time. And Bedrider was never able to get his Blink Dagger. Well, he was able to get his Blink Dagger, but never able to use it properly. As in, the aggression from Awake, even though they definitely built for aggressiveness. I mean, they got the Bedrider with the Blink Dagger and the Force Staff. They got the Shadow Blade. But it was always, after the levels were done on Mineski, that was the one to initiate the fight. So Awake couldn't get those ganks going and couldn't get the upper hand and just lagged behind. And that is deadly, apparently. Anyways, thank you for watching, of course. First of all, let me know how my microphone was, because I have a new one, so I would love some feedback. If you have feedback overall, you can always send a contact or enter a contact request on my website, as I always read those, even though I don't always get time to reply. But make sure you do that, and of course follow me on this Twitch channel to make sure to see when I go live again, and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, all under the same name of Shiver Gaming. Thank you for watching, and I'll probably play some pubs next, so if you want to continue watching that, that's possible. Otherwise, have fun with your day.